What about high glycemic foods?
This is obviously a problem, especially when people have blood sugar issues, like whether they're diabetic, pre-diabetic, or what have you. I think 40% of the U.S. population, upwards of that, could be considered pre-diabetic, which is scary. These things are going to cause spikes in blood sugar, which makes your insulin get dysregulated. When insulin gets dysregulated, it puts you kind of on the short list to get, dysglycemia or eventually diabetes. So, like, what is it? Why is that relevant to Hashimoto's? It's relevant to Hashimoto's is because a lot of these people have different types of glycemic reactions, like reactive hypoglycemia, meaning they eat carbs or sugar, and then everything spikes, and then they crash, right? And then they get brain fog in here, right? So if blood sugar goes up at this rate, insulin goes up, and it lasts longer. Like at that time where there's nothing for insulin to put in the cells, you're in like the blackout zone. And then that's when you crave like more sugar or caffeine or whatever, just to get you going. So high glycemic foods will also cause issues with inflammation, even independent of somebody being diabetic, right? There's something called the rage reaction, which I think we could do a whole nother thing about. So high glycemic foods are a problem for everyone as human beings, at least when you're having chronic exposure to them, like on Christmas once a year, not that big a deal, but like for some Hashimoto's people, you can get blown out from having a high glycemic day for days, and you might be inflamed, and you don't put two and two together, right? The fact that 2 days ago you ate a bunch of high glycemic foods, and then all of a sudden, like you got brain fog and you're fatigued, and nobody really puts it together unless you're tracking, which is why it's probably important for, at least early on, for Hashimoto's people when they're figuring this stuff out, to track their foods, keep a journal, or like, what'd you eat? How do you feel? And then you can go back like 2-3 days and like, oh yeah, I ate at a restaurant that day. So what could it have been?
Right.